Hey guys, it's Mal here, back with another video. And in this one, it's going to be similar to my team history video, but instead of going over teams, I'm going to go over major people that have had an impact on my night shift career. I don't want to offend anyone, and I'm sorry in advance if you don't hear or see your name on this list. Just know, I love each and every one of you because you all supported me throughout my NT career, whether it be when I was grinding or with my YouTube channel now. I truly appreciate all of you for that. With all of you combined, it definitely had an impact on me. But obviously, I'm not going to name literally every single person, just the more major people I've friended over my time on this site. I'm also going to keep it in chronological order, like my team history video. I didn't mention it, but I'm not going to cover them from my favorite to least favorite. That would just be. I'll also link each person's racer link in the description. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Oh, this video is going to be so wholesome. The first person is Pandora. Now, I shouldn't be putting him on this list because I've known him for my whole life and not just Nitro type, but he still had an impact on my career, and that is why I am putting him here. However, there's not much to say about him. He is my brother, as you guys know now. We kept that a secret for a couple years during our time on Discord. We've had our times with that hacking situation, which I don't want to get into too much in this video. Luckily, we have made up like I made up with others. Other than that, we've always been pretty close when we were on both the sites. I cannot talk. I was actually the one who got him into Nitro type, so it's crazy to imagine what else would have happened if we weren't actually related. I got to say I'm glad he did, though. We joke around a lot with each other, but in all seriousness, he's a really good brother, and I'm glad we're siblings. Not just siblings, but also friends. We would sometimes have talks together about Nitro type in Discord and other stuff in general, which is really nice. With siblings, I honestly feel like they're the people you can understand most, and it's really nice to have that kind of person. The next person is MissTyper. I also don't want to get too much into my relationships and love life, but we were really close back then. She was one of the very first people I met on Discord, and I'm also only mentioning people I met when I joined Discord and not when I joined NT, because I technically didn't meet them yet. Anyway, we may have first met on Discord, but before I joined Discord, I actually saw her on the track from time to time. And it's nice I remembered because her name was always MissTyper from the beginning, and it still is, as you guys can see. I was on Kocho when I first joined Discord, as you guys would know if you watched my team history video, which is where we met. We worked together as officers on the team. Then there was MWY, which she ended up leaving, and I understand the reason. Then there was SSH, where we were also both officers. After that, it kind of was the end of us being on the team together. Other than that, there's not much more to say. Honestly, there's not going to be much to say about anyone, just that they were there for me as a friend, and yeah. Unfortunately, though, me and MissTyper don't really talk anymore, which is fine because it's not like we were on bad terms now or anything. As long as I'm not on bad terms with a person, I'll still consider them a friend, even if we stop talking. Never know if we could talk again after all. The next person is Sharkkey, who I also met later on during my time on Kocho. She was on the team as well and quickly became an officer along with us because of her activity. How you got officer on Kocho was based on your activity, so the 5 most active racers on the team would get it. She didn't really impact me the most during the Kocho and SSH days, except the fact that she was a good friend during those times, of course. But once Shark rolled around, that's when the impact comes in. The reason she impacted me during my Shark times is because she was captain of the team, and that is the same team that I decided to stick around with for the rest of my Nitro career. And it was all because of her, because she decided to create Shark. I was an officer on Shark, and she, of course, was the captain, so it was beginning to feel a little bit like old times, especially during Season 26 when Shark was going up against Talk for that number 3 spot, just like in Season 15 when Kocho was competing against Iran for the same spot. And like both seasons, we ended up being victorious. So we definitely had some pretty good times together, and it's always nice to look back on them. It's nice overall to look back at all the people I met throughout my time here and how they impacted me. The next person is volatile, which means we are now in my SSH days. I skipped MWY days because obviously there wasn't anyone who impacted me the most. Plus, it was kind of like Kocho 2.0 since people from that team joined. Volatile impacted me because, like Sharkkey, she was the captain of a team that I stayed on for a long time. The second longest time behind Shark. I've technically been on Shark longer because I rejoined months after the hacking situation. Anyway, enough about teams and back to the people. There was really not much to say about Volatile, and there wasn't for Sharkkey either because really their biggest impact on me was that they created a team that I wanted to stick around with. Not saying that's the only impact they had, of course. We still had some really good times on the team. I remember back then when I wasn't on SSH yet, how I would always copy their spirit car thing they had going on because I really respected them as a team and Volatile as a captain. Honestly, to this day, I still do. The fact that they are still at the top of the leaderboards after all these years is just inspiring. When I finally got the chance to join SSH after disbanding MWY, I was really happy. It felt unreal to finally race for the team I always looked up to and have Volatile as a captain. And after a while of working with the team, I eventually got officer. By the way, sorry that I sound like I'm repeating myself. If you watched my team video, you would know this already. But I guess all this can just be applied to the way Volatile impacted me as well, you know? It's like if I had a resume for my Nitrotech career, being an officer in SSH would be on the list. And Volatile made that happen, obviously because she was the captain of the team and made me officer. So yeah, I just wanted to thank Volatile and every other captain I had along the way for being a great captain. All of you definitely impacted my career in some way. The next person is Ant. I met her during my SSH days because she was also a member of the team. The reason she impacted me is kind of a huge one, actually. She is the reason that I am as accurate as I am now. I still wasn't too bad before the impact sparked, averaging almost 98% while racing at high levels, but just seeing the accuracy she could average over the course of many races was insane to me. So that sparked something inside of me. I wanted to end up like that, being able to type super accurately after so many races and just really accurate in general. Ant did not give me tips or anything. I trained myself. It was just that motivation inside of me that kept me going and not giving up the goal of becoming a super accurate typist. Now, keep in mind, I didn't just wake up one day and was like, I'm gonna become one of the most accurate typists ever. Because I never expected that, honestly. Just like I never expected I'd be the second most accurate racer in this game. Oh no, I mean, active racer, God. Anyway, you never do that. You just have to put your mind into it and keep working towards it. What I did is a perfect example that you can do anything you put your mind into. I wanted to be super accurate, and I achieved it. And I thank Ant for all of that. It's not like I'd be stuck at 98% though. I just wouldn't have as much motivation to become super accurate. If you want to achieve something, you really have to know you want to do it. Anyway, I really enjoyed our season duels during season 17 and 25 as well. Ant was honestly my favorite person I competed with when I was active, just because of how close our point efficiencies were. There would be times when the point difference literally wouldn't change that much after after hours. So competing with her felt like a literal war, and I loved it. I'm glad we kept it friendly as well. Usually that would spark up drama. I'm also glad we're on the same team again, which is Shark. What makes Shark better for me is that there are some people that I met back then on that team, so that's really nice. The next person is Boys. Again, I'm not going to want to get too much into my love life. We didn't meet when I was on IC9, but rather still on SSH, nearing the end of my time there. And you all know the reason why I left SSH soon after I met Boys, because I liked her. I like to think this marked a new chapter in my career, where I started to join teams in which I wanted to stay forever, but ironically never ended up doing that, except on Shark. It was always nice to join a new team after being on one for so long, and I'm not saying I wasn't loyal or didn't enjoy my time on SSH, of course. It's just the thought of something new is always nice to me. Except this time, I was actually going to stay on that team for the long term. Obviously, Boys really impacted me because she was the captain of IC9 and we were really close together. Basically, anyone I was really close to as a person has impacted my career greatly because of them being there always motivated me. I was the co-captain of the team, which was a new job to me, so that was one thing I really enjoyed. I was happy to work alongside boys, regardless if we were together or not. IC9 was truly something special to me, and it was my favorite team I've been on, like I said. So I have boys to thank for such an amazing team and amazing memories. I'll carry all these memories along with me for as long as I'm living, honestly. And it's all thanks to everyone I've met throughout this journey. The next person is Tendons, who I met in this one GC that also included Blaze and a couple other people who impacted my career, such as Pandora and the next person I'm going to mention. I met Blaze shortly before the GC was created, and Tendons obviously when it was, and he was invited. The GC was formed over just a truth or dare game, so it was amazing how it truly became something special back then. We talked all day as a group, so honestly the GC as a whole had an impact on me. The GC was how me and Tendons really got to know each other and became really close friends. One thing that really made us close was NitroType itself. We would literally have full-on conversations talking about anything NitroType. We both grinded the game around the same time, so sharing that bond was really something special. As you all know, we were the only people who won seasons during the year 2019. I won 5 and he won the rest of the 2. We both respected each other even more just because of the fact that we both grinded the game, and that was something we always could talk about. And it's always nice when you can respect each other even when you're going up against each other. It shows great sportsmanship and friendly competition. At one point, we even raced together on one account because we realized just how much we were taking over 2019, but soon realized we couldn't go too long without our mains. So we were definitely close at that point. Willing to race on one account together takes a lot of trust, and it shows just how friendly the competition was between us. We wanted to have some fun on the game together. Unfortunately, we don't talk like we used to, which kind of makes sense. I mean, for one, we don't grind at high levels anymore, and it just happens, you know. We're still on good terms, though, which is what matters most. The next person and other person that was in the GC is Girl 4, or Thorry, as most people and I like to call her. Again, like Tendons, we grew close because of the talks we had in the GC. I'm putting Thorry on this list because she's always been one of my close friends on Discord and still continues to be. We actually still talk to this day, and that is one thing that's special about her to me. Out of all the people I've mentioned so far in this video, Thorry is really the only one I still talk to most often, except Pandora, of course, because we're brothers, obviously. And just having that one friendship really means a lot to me. We met over a year ago, and we still continue to talk, unlike others where we just end up not talking eventually, which again is just life. So I truly appreciate Thorry being there for me as a friend throughout all this time, and I hope we continue to talk more and more in the long run. And finally, the last person I wanted to mention who had an impact on me is Kocho. Keep in mind, the impact a specific person had on me doesn't have to be all positive, of course, even though all of the people I mentioned have been positive. I'm not saying that Kocho only had a negative impact on me, though. There were still some positive ways she impacted me. We should start with the good, then the bad, and the ugly. I still don't want to get too much into the relationship stuff, even though this section might be the part where I talk about it a little more. So if you don't want to hear about all the ugly because it'll make you uncomfortable, this is your warning. The positive impact she had on me is that we were really close, obviously. It's always like that with my loved ones. We met late in the IC9 days and instantly hit it off just because of how weird we both were. This instantly made me a different person on Discord because I really embraced my weird side. Like, a lot more than I should have. Which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I enjoyed doing it at the time if it was with her. But looking back every time, I can't help but cringe at the way I acted during my relationships on Discord. It's one reason I don't want to date online anymore. I feel much more mature not being in a relationship. After all, you become a different person when you're in love anyway because you want to act more like that person. So it makes sense that I would want to act like myself rather than someone else just because I like them. Anyway, things were looking pretty good between us, and I didn't really care about what people thought about Kocho because as long as I had her, it made me happy, like all relationships would. But that's one thing that negatively impacted me. Even if I didn't care, some people were starting to not like me just because I was dating Kocho. They tried to help me out of the relationship, but I refused, only making them not like me more and more. The result of dating Kocho made me lose some friendships, but I always gained them back because I now apologize to everyone and I'm not dating anyone. It got worse and worse when she started pressuring me into doing things, which made me kind of uncomfortable, but I went along with it just because I loved her and I knew it would make her happy. Of course, I wasn't able to see that before, but I can now. It came to a head when I came up with the idea of hacking Aiden's account so that she could easily win the season, because she was really struggling and I wanted to do something that would make her happy. Keep in mind, I never had thoughts of hacking an account, and I never would have any thoughts about it if I wasn't dating Kocho. But I knew that was something that would make her happy, and that is something I feel like she would like to do herself, so I came up with that idea. This, like it should, caused mostly everyone in the community to completely hate me and Kocho. We were not welcome in the community ever again. And flash forward about a month later from the incident, Kocho wants me to hack another account. At this point, I was completely uncomfortable with doing that. But I again tried it anyway, all because I loved her. Notice how I said tried, because we weren't successful. What Kocho wanted me to do was pose as Pandora to get Dre's information, because at the time, Dre was the new threat to Kocho. But Pandora ended up catching me in the act. At that point, I was done with trying that and anything Kocho wanted me to do that made me uncomfortable or was just downright bad. Kocho was a fighter though, so she didn't give up. Once I already got caught, she wanted me to try it again anyway. And that was the final straw. I finally came to my senses and realized that what she was doing was wrong and that she shouldn't be forcing me to do these things. That was when I officially broke up with her and we both decided to quit Discord. Honestly, for doing that, I felt like a hero because people didn't like Kocho, so didn't want to see her on Discord, and because of me, she's actually moving on with her life and not dwelling on Discord. So I'm glad I was able to satisfy both sides, which I didn't think could be possible. We still talk every once in a while, which I don't see a problem with, as long as there's no manipulation going on or anything bad. And I'm sorry for sharing all this, but Kocho was honestly the person who impacted me the most, and it's shown by all I went through while dating her. Those are all the real major people that have impacted my life on Nitrotype. If you watched it to the end, I greatly appreciate that. You are all continuing to impact me with this channel because I appreciate all the support you have given me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.